Hello everyone, this is Sheba Joy. Welcome to my channel Zion Shekinah Official. Zion means God's dwelling place, Shekinah is God's glory. Today we're going to see uh, chapter 2 from Proverbs, and it, it has verses 22. So, Proverbs chapter 2, 1 to 22 verses. We will read and ponder. Um, My son, if you accept my words and store up my commands within you, turning your ear to wisdom and applying your heart to understanding. Indeed, if you call out for insight and cry aloud for understanding, and if you look for it as for silver and search for it as for hidden treasure, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. Uh, Knowledge is something that we look into books as we said yesterday, is like I said. And that's true, that knowledge can be gotten from, like, you can get that knowledge from books, from self-help talks, self-help books, or motivational books, or people speaking and speakers and all that. Nothing wrong with that. That's really great, if you can take their help and then get into understanding about certain aspects of our life and things in the world and all that. But here, what God is saying is in Proverbs 2, chapter 5, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. See, when we seek the wisdom, and wisdom is God, and wisdom is from God. So, it says that when you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God, for the Lord gives wisdom. Find the knowledge of God. Like wisdom is for us to receive, but the knowledge of God is for us to actually give back to God. In a way, what Proverbs chapter 2 is talking about is that when we know that wisdom is from God, which means that, for example, um, suppose, we know that some things are right in this world, some things are wrong in this world, and we can be doing wrong things being a Christian or being the right person that we want to be. But if you're doing something wrong, and what how do you know it is wrong? It's the wisdom of God. How do you know it's right? It's the wisdom of God. But so that's what it means. But the knowledge here, and you will find the knowledge of God. The knowledge of God is nothing. It's like it's whatever is written in the Bible. Like, who is God? He is a faithful God. He is a God who is zealous. He is a righteous God. He is a God who is omnipotent. He is a God who's like his like a two-edged sword. His word is like a two-edged sword. But we can also say he is like a sword, because it says, like, in the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God, in John 1:1. So, so we can know the knowledge of God. Like, for example, um, in a classroom, uh, there will be about 50 or 60 students, and then when we're teaching in the class, we know that some girls or boys are different from each other. How do we know? We know by their attributes. So that's what Proverbs 2 is talking about. And so that's how and through that knowledge, we know that they are like that. They possess certain qualities. So it then you will fear the Lord and find the knowledge of God. When we fear the Lord, that's what, like I said before, that when we know that something is not right and something is right, how do we know that? It comes from the wisdom of God. When does that come? When we fear God. So that's what Proverbs 2 is talking about. And verse 6 says, For the Lord gives wisdom, from his mouth comes knowledge and understanding. He holds success in store for the upright. He is a shield to those whose walk is blameless. For he guards the course of the just and protects the way of his faithful ones. See, he guards the course of the just. Why? Because sometimes the just and the right people totally cannot understand the ways of the wicked. Though they are wicked, though they know that they have done many crimes, they would not be able to understand. In that time, what happens is God Himself guards their course. That means God Himself guards their walk and protects the way of His faithful ones. And why does He protect the faithful ones? Because he knows that they are depending on him. He knows that they are true to him. He knows that they are faithful and completely like obedient, wanting, and their help is from the Lord. Like how Psalm 121 it says, like I will, what is that? I will. Sorry, I'm kind of also feeling very sleepy. It's 4:30 in the morning. I've been awake the whole night. And so what it says that in Psalm 121 that I lift up my eyes to the mountains. Where does the help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. So these people who are faithful, they are the ones that God also will protect them, because they are faithful to God, because they say that their help is in the Lord, and so their help will come from the Lord. And that's why God also vouches for such people and says He's going to protect them. Then verse 9 it says, Then you will understand what is right and just and fair, every good path. For wisdom will enter your heart, and knowledge will be pleasant to your soul. Discretion will protect you, and understanding will guard you. See, discretion is like discerning things. How do you discern? Well, a lot of times not all things are played out in front of us. If someone is conniving some bad things behind us, if we have enemies and they're constantly pursuing you, for anything, be it property, be it selfish motives, or be it sometimes they want to cover their crimes, so they don't want the good ones to tell about them. So so constantly there's the enemies are pursuing. So in that case we need discretion. So everything is not played out. They might seem very calm, they might seem like they might not do anything in front of you, but your discernment will say that, when we have discernment, we'll know that these people are doing something wrong. So discernment actually is also like another like one question has, suppose when you're writing exam in school, and the question has A, B, C, and answer all. So it's like that. Discretion is like the if wisdom is the main question, discretion is A in that. Point A. So it says wisdom 12, Proverbs 2:12. It says, Wisdom will save you from the ways of wicked men, from men whose words are perverse, who have left the straight paths to walk in dark ways, who delight in doing wrong and rejoice in the perverseness of evil. So that's what I was saying, right? That they, all these things they are, but you can't see them, because these things are the attributes of that, are the nature of that wicked person. But when you have discernment, you know that these things are about the wicked person, and that is what they are, and that is what they will be. And chapter 2:15 it says, Whose paths are crooked, and who are devious in their ways, Wisdom will save you also from the adulterous woman. Whoa, this is a very, very big thing. From the wayward woman with her seductive words. So, it's not something, sometimes like very big, the adulterous woman. So let's keep reading this, and we'll come back to that. Proverbs chapter 2, verse 16. From 16 it says, wisdom will save you also from the adulterous woman, from the wayward woman with her seductive words, who has left the partner of her youth and ignored the covenant she made before God. Surely her house leads down to death, and her paths to the spirits of the dead. None who go to her return or attain the paths of life. Wow, there's a lot of things in, like, from 16 to 19. See, one is Proverbs is talking about a person who, if he has wisdom, he will not cross the paths of a adulterous woman. He will not go into her house. He will not have any connection with her. Why? Because and he will not buy her seductive ways, or he will not buy her seductive words, and her conniving words and her coy words and things like that. And when we think about the adulterous woman, it's not a prostitute that the Bible is talking about, but it is a woman who has actually married when she was young, and she left her partner, and she ignores the covenant that she made before God. So this is that kind of woman. That means she has, like, left off all dignity, honor, shame, everything, um, to a corner, and she has chosen a path which is and which is God ordained. So the Proverbs is talking about this kind of woman who left her husband in her youth and who has ignored the covenant she made before God. And also, so what happens to this kind of woman? Verse 18 says, surely her house leads down to death, and her paths to the spirits of the dead. So there will be destruction in that kind of house. There will be judgment in that kind of house. And her paths to the spirits of the dead. What do you mean by spirits of the dead? That means that this kind of woman will eventually be cast into hell. And verse 19 again is a thing that is talking about a person who is, like, involved with that woman, that kind of woman or women. What happens to him? The Bible is saying that in Proverbs 2:19, none who go to her return or attain the paths of life. Why? What does this mean? None who go to her return, or attain the paths of, because they're not going to be the same. Once they have gone to her, once they've gone to this adulterous woman and had an illegal relationship with her, their life will never be the same, and they cannot attain the path of life. Who gives life? Life is, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Who says that? Jesus says that. So they cannot be back into God's fold. They cannot be back into the life that God has given them to enjoy, because they'll be using the path of destruction, which the devil has meant for him to fall prey to that kind of woman. So they can't attain the paths of life. And 20. Thus you will walk in the ways of the good and keep. And so the Proverbs, God is talking about that if all these things are there, but if all these things are omitted, and when wisdom calls on you, when you seek the face of the wisdom, when you seek wisdom, when you take wisdom in your hand, in your head, in your spirit, in your mind, body, spirit, and soul, Then you have the other things, which are um, thus you will walk in the ways of the good and keep to the paths of the righteous. For the upright will live in the land, and the blameless will remain in it, but the wicked will be cut off from the land, and the unfaithful will be torn from it. So, it's God is giving a promise here that those who are wicked, they will be cut off from the land. They will not be in the land that they have taken or are residing in or they are living in. So they will be cut off from that land, and the blameless will remain in such kind of lands, and also the unfaithful will be torn from it. And the unfaithful meaning maybe her supporters, or maybe the people who did not like be when they had to be right before God, they were not, so those kind of people will be torn from it. So this is what Proverbs is talking about in chapter 2. And really, I mean, as I was reading these verses just now, and recording them, it was like there's so much. I mean, there's so much wisdom, there's so much knowledge, there's so much, God's instruction in just chapter, you know, in just this like a chapter. So, and in each verse too. So, but as we read on, I've seen somewhere also that fools don't understand it because they don't um, uh, ask for wisdom, or they don't walk in the ways of wisdom, so they think all that is written here, or they've seen or known or heard, for them it is like a foolish talk till a calamity runs over. So yes, so it is really beautiful, like how, you know I mean, reading just the second chapter today is making me feel in my heart that God loves us so much. That's why He has given us so much instruction, even before, like, you wanted to sin, or wanted to be committing sin or doing anything. Is already put instruction manual for people not to sin, for people not to be careful, for people to be aware of who God is and what He's going to do and not do. If we listen to His word. So, what a beautiful book Proverbs is. I mean, every book in the Bible is, but it's such a beautiful instructions. Like what we can expect from God is very, very clearly written in Proverbs about the do's and don'ts. So, thank you for listening, and may the Lord bless this word. Thank you.